Hi, this is my week 2 Scratch Reflection Journal. This week in my group, we really started to pull together ideas and create a final version of what we want our piece to look like and what we want to portray to the audience. Our practitioner Emil showed us a variety of genres and styles of theatre and looked more in depth at them and what they portray. And if we had any questions, we could just ask him and we could put our hand up if we didn't know what those genres were or what they were about. And as we're doing an adaptation of The Wizard of Oz, we thought the obvious option to go for would be the story adaptation genre. But it was good to have that clear genre in mind, as it meant that we could go away and look further into it and how we can portray it effectively without it just looking like a scrambled together mess of the original story. We also started to look further at characters and what we want their personalities to look like and what traits we want them to have. And this helped us to look further into the story and how we could start developing a script and what we want the characters and their mannerisms to be like and how we want to convey those to the audience. And we also started to storyboard our piece, and this was really useful as it meant that we could have a clear framework of the piece even if we didn't have a clear map of what would happen in each event, but it gave us a clear beginning and end and what we want the message to be for the audience. And we also came together as a group and shared the research that we had done within the week, and I found this really helpful as it not only helped us to add to the story and the script, but it also gave us a reason for why we were making each of the decisions and the reasons behind the characters and the plot points and everything, and it gave us context behind each of those decisions. And I found it really helpful as it helped open my eyes to things I wouldn't have otherwise researched, and especially as we were doing each of these pieces of research individually, it meant that we looked at things that we wouldn't have otherwise looked at if it was just individual pieces of research or if we did it as a group rather. But especially for me, Anya, she went and looked at the time period in which the story of Wizard of Oz was created and when it was filmed. And it was really useful as obviously it was an era that isn't familiar to us and that we might not know much about. So this could have affected the writers and what choices they made towards the plot and how they went about filming it. So this opened our eyes to look at how we could take that into consideration of now and putting the story together in a way that's more modernised. We also did lots of improvised games with our practitioner Emil, such as the Dragon's Den game, and this gave us a chance to pitch our story idea without having to do any pre-planning and without having to think too much about it. And I found this really useful as it meant that we could just throw our ideas out there, which I'm not usually that good at doing, and it gave us a chance to just put ideas out there without being judged. And even if we didn't use the ideas in the actual thing, it meant that those ideas were out there for us to look at and take into consideration as if we wanted them to be included in the final piece. And I think that's something that I really need to look at in the next few weeks, is how I can just throw my ideas out there without being too hesitant and without getting worried about if people will judge me for them or if they'll be useful, as I've realised that putting ideas out there is a starting point, and that's something that I've struggled with this week, is like knowing where to start. Some feedback that we got from the practitioners is how we can really condense this story and make sure that it's not dragging too much, and knowing what we actually want to portray but making it different enough from the story that it's our own but not straying too far from the story that it's not obvious what we're trying to do. So I think if we really focus on this throughout the week and the next few weeks, then we will get a really clear story and it'll be a very successful performance.